want to point out that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I want to hope gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Energy Week, number 470. That's Energy Week with me, George Harvey, and the amazing Tom Fennell.
In the flesh?
In his flesh, in his spring garb. I took that a month ago or more, but Tom did it in the last week. We're going to be talking about energy news from Thursday, April 28th, until yesterday, which was May 4th. And this is material that has come from my blog, geoharvey.com. There is a video down, a link down that way, and a file you can download from the place where you're watching this. And you can go to those so that you can actually click on the
Some
links.
of them are well worth looking at.
A bunch
some
of
of them have good videos attached to them.
Yes, absolutely.
There's one of them that's got about 30 pictures.
Tom likes pictures. I do too, actually. But let's start, okay?
Why not?
Okay, we're talking about a piece here from Clean Technica. What do you have for a title? Let me put the picture up. There you go.
I was just going to say there's got to be a picture here.
There is a picture.
And there's a picture.
It's not a picture of me. There you go.
And it is called California Sets the Standards for 100% EV Sales.
Yeah.
EV meaning electrical vehicles.
It sure is. In just over a decade, all cars sold in California will be electric based on
There's a solar charging station in California.
There's a bunch of them that look like that, actually.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
You got shade, you got your energy coming in.
Yeah. Okay. All cars sold in California will be electric based on new proposed standards from the state's Air Resources Board. The proposed standards will require about 35% of vehicles sold by car manufacturers to be EVs starting in the model year 2026. That's the model year, not the actual year. So,
the actual year, right.
And 100% in the model year 2035.
Well, 35% in 2026 and 100% in 2035. That's ambitious.
I think it is. Except, honestly, the worldwide, I'm seeing this worldwide, the car automotive industry is falling into really terrible straits because the sales of most conventional cars have just been in terrible declines. The exceptions are the plug-in electric cars.
They make sense.
They make sense.
Make a lot of
people
sense.
I think that the standards in this particular
case... Well, the electric car is here and it's here permanently.
Yeah.
And we just got to iron out a few wrinkles before everybody has an electric car.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was I think that the people are ahead of the standards.
Well, we'll be talking about that.
Okay.
Around the world, drivers often want clean cars. Clean meaning clean emissions.
Non-polluting.
In 2021, sales of new EVs doubled. So people are getting on a bandwagon there. Mm-hmm. For the luxury car segment, nearly 1 in 3 new vehicles is an electric vehicle. Mm-hmm. There's a graph of that map of the U.S. plug-in sales, and it's going up.
Yeah.
17 national, provincial, and state governments have already signed commitments to a full transition to electric passenger vehicles.
Yes.
And there's a map on that website of the countries phasing out the sales of new internal combustion engines.
Right.
Countries are doing that already. They're saying you can't make them anymore.
In some countries, they're almost there. I mean, Norway is almost to 100%.
Yes, they are.
80 some odd percent now.
Yeah.
Okay, should we go on?
Yeah, get a nice picture here of Ventura County.
Ventura County, there it is. And this is from CNN.
Southern Californians told to reduce outdoor watering in a historic drought.
Yeah, facing extreme drought conditions caused by changing climate, Southern Californian officials are demanding businesses and residents in parts of Los Angeles, Ventura, and San Bernardino counties cut outdoor watering to 1 day a week.
Well, this is pretty radical. I'll give you a quote here.
Yeah.
We have never done anything like this before because we have never seen a situation like this before.
Yes.
We don't have enough water to meet normal demands for the 6 million people living in the state water project dependent areas.
Yes.
And that's a quote, but I mean, it's broader than that. And there's another takeaway. Outdoor watering takes 50 to 70% of residential water consumption.
Oh, wow.
Just watering your lawns. Yeah. Okay, so they're in places they're outlawing that.
Yes.
Or very severely limiting the hours you can do it.
Yes. Okay, should we go on?
Well, there's a quick takeaway here. The issue goes beyond California.
It sure does.
The federal government in August declared its first water shortage on the Colorado River, leading to mandatory water cuts for all the states in the Southwest. Mm-hmm. So this drought is serious.
Yeah.
It's significant. And there's no evidence that it's going to go away soon.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll probably be talking about that again.
I guess.
Well, we got a picture here coming up of a car
being charged. And Ed Harvey is not a relation of mine, as far as I know. This is from Clean Technica.
Korean researchers developed battery technology with blistering charge speeds.
Blistering.
This is an interesting article.
Yeah, it's an interesting article. And by blistering charge speeds, they're talking about unbelievably fast. The Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology said they did some battery development that is pretty astonishing. They claim to be able to make hybrid lithium-ion battery that could theoretically reduce the charging time for an electric car to 1 minute. And
this is very interesting.
If you've got a fairly good-sized car, there's no way you could fill a gas tank in 1 minute.
Well, unless they do something radically different with the electricity distribution network, you can't get enough electricity to your car to charge it in a minute.
They're going to do some radical things here, I think.
Well, the times they are changing, folks.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, should we go on? You got more on that?
Well, what they're doing is they're changing the structure of the battery.
Yes.
Okay, and they managed to come up with something that can deliver battery-like energy storage while giving a capacitor-like charging experience.
Yes.
This is right in the lab now. They have
this,
but this is what they're working on.
That's what they're working on. Okay, we're up to Friday, April 29th, and we've got an item here from
a picture coming up
from Clean Technica.
Why don't I put the picture up?
There is a picture.
Europe's oil majors have paid back just a fraction of their trillions in societal and environmental impact. They're taken, but they're not given.
Yeah, I actually show a different title for that, but I believe it's the same article. Trillions of unpaid health and environmental costs.
That's the article.
Yes.
Article's title, but...
The 5 biggest oil majors in Europe pocketed $47 billion, mostly in profit for shareholders and management, in 2021, taking their total profits to $850 billion since 1993, according to a study. The study also shows that their pollution, public health effects, and carbon emissions total $13 trillion. So they made $850 billion in profits, and in the course of doing that, they did $13 trillion worth of damage.
Well, this comes from the study.
Yeah.
First of all, oil companies are fully aware of their impact on the planet.
Oh, can't be.
Between 1993 and 2020, which was the scope of the study, the 5 biggest oil producers, and they named them, are responsible for around 13% of global CO2 emissions. Okay, the 5 companies are responsible for $9 trillion in unpaid health costs. Okay, the 5 are responsible for unpaid carbon costs of an estimated 4.2 trillion euro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deforestation, human rights, and indigenous population destruction aren't even taken into account.
Amazing.
They're getting away with murder.
They are literally getting away with murder. And
Yeah.
I'll point out that the various studies that I've seen indicate that air pollution alone is killing somewhere between 250 and 325 people in Vermont every year.
We've talked about that on
Many
the show
times.
before.
Yeah, many
Well,
times.
Big Oil has sought to control the conversation on climate change.
They sure have.
They're spending almost 4 billion euros on lobbying and an additional $3 billion on advertisements. And that's just to duck the issue.
Yes. To duck the issue, they're spending $7 billion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's move along here. We got an interesting picture of a submarine cable.
And I bet you have something to
Well,
say
I
about
do,
it.
because the article is about DC cables, and this is an AC cable.
Well,
DC, you use two different cables, a plus cable and a minus cable.
oh, you mean you can't just take a minus cable from one end to the other and put the positive charge into the ocean?
I guess you could, but it's easier to do.
I have a feeling you might electrocute a few fish.
A few fish are in there. What's a few? But I look at the picture there, and it's not what it says it is. But
Yeah.
I wonder why all the holes are in it.
I don't know, but I read an article about this particular cable.
Aha.
I should have noticed that it was AC. I didn't, because the article at Renews does not really have a very good picture. But those holes can be used for conducting other cables.
Oh, quite obviously.
Such
That's
as
what they normally
communications.
are used for.
Yeah.
And I think this is just a manufacturing thing.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to change the jigs, so they're putting in tubing instead of conductors. They're
Yeah.
all set up to feed conductors into those holes.
Yeah.
Okay, and the customer doesn't want to pay for the conductor.
Well, one of the
He's not
things that
gonna
I
use
wondered
it.
about this is if you've got a cable like that that's 1,000 miles long, and you
can.
how do you get a little communications cable, for example, into one of those holes to run the whole thing? And I figured it out.
You put it in there in the beginning.
You tie it to the tail of a rat and pull a piece of cheese through.
Oh, okay, that would work. It'd have to be a very small rat. Well, X-Links, the name of the company,
Yeah.
wants a CFD,
Yes.
which means contract for the difference,
for difference, yeah.
support for the UK-Morocco link. Now,
This is so crazy.
that UK-Morocco link is long.
I guess it is.
That's a biggie.
Well, it says how long here. Xlinks is in talks with the UK government about possible contract for difference support for a project that would link power generated in solar and wind facilities with storage in Morocco to the UK. The project aims to cover, to connect over 2,360 miles of high voltage DC subsea cables, according to the company.
Well, I was reading this thing, and I'm trying to figure out what a contract for difference support is, and it doesn't really make any difference.
It's an incentive.
Yeah,
And that particular terminology is used in the UK.
it's illegal in the United States.
Well, they do a lot of things in the UK that are illegal in the United States. We don't allow kings and queens.
Well,
but they do.
this essentially allows investors to trade the direction of the securities over a very short term. CFDs are an advanced trading strategy that is used by experienced traders and is not allowed in the United States. And why we're even talking about it, I don't know, because it has nothing to do with us.
Well, I think it just, all we really have to say is that there is an incentive involved. And these contract for differences come up in renewable energy projects, descriptions of them very, very frequently.
They do, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. They just come up constantly.
Well, we got another picture coming
We
up.
have a
Let's
picture.
see if we can get that
And
picture
I
up
labeled
there.
that picture Dream of the Future.
That's what it looks like.
Well, the thing about that picture is it's got all kind of weirdnesses going on in it that really makes it look more like a dream than a reality.
Well, the dream is this. The Florida Power and Light has a package deal.
Yes.
They're giving you an EV charger, installation, and unlimited off-peak charging for $38 a month.
Can you imagine
How
this?
do you do that
Well, it's simple, Tom. You do it at night
when nobody's looking?
when nobody's looking. This is from Clean Technica. A month Florida Power and Light has a deal for EV drivers. It sounds pretty tempting. For just $38 a month, it will install an EV charger at your home, provide unlimited off-peak electricity to charge your car at a low feed. One requirement is you've got to have a 10-year contract.
Yes.
And this reminds me, for reasons that are different actually, but it does remind me of that deal that Encore, which is the big utility in Dallas, came up with several years ago, where they had a wind power offer, which was similar to Green Mountain Power's cow power offer.
Okay.
Except that all of your electricity came from wind. You paid extra during the daytime, but the advantage was during the night, you could get as much electricity as you wanted for anything that you wanted to get it for free. That is from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. So if you wanted to
recharge your car, that's the time
that's the time to do it. And if you want to do it at the same time, use that same time to run your water heater and run your clothes washer and dryer. That's the time to do it. So
who wouldn't?
Yeah, and if you're never home during the day, so you don't need to have the air conditioning go on during the day, then you could save a lot of money doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are up to Saturday, April 30th.
And we got another picture.
We have a picture of a Hevitzer. This is from Hevitzer?
Hevitzer?
Isn't that what that is? Oh, it's a howitzer.
That's a gun.
Yeah. I think Hauer, which may be where that comes from, the part of the name Eisenhower means heaver.
Okay.
So Eisenhower means...
howitzer heaves shells.
Yeah, and Eisenhower is a person who heaves iron. I think that's what
Something
it is.
like that.
This is from Clean
it's
Technica.
German, isn't it? It's got to have some meaning.
It's got to have some meaning.
I mean, everybody's name has some meaning if you look into it.
Okay.
My name means a fair-haired foreigner.
Yeah, my name means battlefield.
Battlefield, huh?
Yeah, in some language that disappeared long ago. This is from Clean Technica.
Well, the Ukraine war has reached a clean energy tipping point. That's a question.
Yes. The U.S. and allies have also tried to sanction Russia, in addition to other sanctions, as severely as possible for their aggression in Ukraine. To do that, it is necessary to greatly reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. Solar and wind electricity generation are already less expensive than electricity from coal or gas, and I should add nuclear there.
Well, this is something that's happening as we speak.
Absolutely.
And it's changing.
Yeah.
Well, the most severe sanctions,
yes,
would be for all countries to stop buying Russian oil and gas.
Yes.
But that isn't going to happen.
Not terribly soon.
Not yet. The U.S. has already taken this step.
It may happen
Western Europe is following us.
Yeah.
But Russia can still buy. Western Europe has not followed us.
Not yet.
Not yet. So Russia can still buy more missiles, bombs, planes, etc. To help destroy Ukraine.
There was an article in the news today. I think we'll be talking about it next week. That says that Germany has cut its use of Russian oil from, I forget the percentage, I think it was about 43%, down to about 12% already.
I think I have that number here somewhere. Germany gets half its gas from Russia.
Well,
allowing them to hold the Germans hostage.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're going to cut that down to zero this year.
They're going to cut that down.
And they say they're going to cut down oil this year too.
Yeah.
And they've already cut it from, I think it was 43% to 13% or 14%. And they're going to cut that out this year. This is going to be a disaster for the Russians. And
well, there's a takeaway from this article.
Yeah.
Unless the whole world is weaned off of fossil fuels, it will not be possible to totally sanction Russia for its unprovoked war.
Yeah. Well, I think that Vladimir Putin would say that this war was provoked because of NATO wanting to, and he was worried about Ukraine becoming part of
NATO.
We've got some pretty good indication.
We have said they would never do, but it look like we might let them do it.
And it looks like Finland is going to decide in a few days that they're going to join NATO, which means all of a sudden the Russians have completely defeated their purpose.
They're surrounded, huh?
Right. And but I think the reason why Putin started the war was because he saw that he was going to lose all his income because he wouldn't be able to sell fossil fuels in the very near future. So we have to keep going, Tom.
Yeah, we got another picture coming up here.
We have a picture of...
There is the picture
of...
the wind turbines in Michigan. How do you know they're in Michigan?
Because I looked for wind turbines in Michigan on Wikipedia.
And that's what it says, huh?
Yeah, this was a weird Wikipedia thing because it didn't have the normal attribution stuff that you find there, but it did say that it was from NOAA via Flickr. This is from WXYZ. Believe it or not, there's some kind of place out there called WXYZ.
What's a radio station?
Yeah, I believe it is. Probably.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Time to shine. Solar panel poised to surpass wind as Michigan's #1 renewable energy source.
Yeah.
It's going to happen in more than just Michigan, I think.
Yeah, I think it will. DTE, Southeast Michigan's largest energy provider, says it's working to reduce carbon emissions by 80% by 2040 and net zero by 2050. Wind will continue to be important, but solar is likely to be DTE's driving force moving forward.
I went nuts trying to figure out what DTE means.
Did you find out?
Yes.
What is
Detroit, Toledo, Elyria.
Elyria?
That's the sound.
Wow.
It's the name of their original
I didn't look it
area.
up because I thought I knew what it was, but I was wrong. Okay.
The 3/4 of renewable energy in Michigan presently comes from wind turbines. Presently.
Yes.
Okay, but the growth of the solar industry has exploded due to lower costs.
Due to lower costs. Okay, we should move up to the next one.
Well, there's an interesting thing here because one of the reasons why the costs are lower is the new panels are bifacial. So they're collecting energy from the sun as it comes down and from the earth as it reflects.
Yes, or you can mount them vertically on a north-south axis, which means that both sides will get it, and the side that the sun is shining on will...
And you can move them.
You can move them. You can do all kinds of these things.
Doing some
but the real big thing here is when these things are up in the winter and they are up off the ground, they will get sunshine from the sun and they will get reflected sunshine from the snow.
But we saw wind turbines in Michigan.
Yeah.
So now let's look at some solar panels in Virginia.
There you go. This is from North American Wind Power. Why would North American Wind Power have solar panels in Virginia?
Well, RFPs, requests for proposals, solicited by Dominion, which is the energy company down there,
Yep.
for renewable energy projects in Virginia.
Yeah.
They're looking for a lot of these things.
Yes. Dominion Energy Virginia issued a request for proposals for up to 1,200 megawatts. That's 1.2 gigawatts.
And gigawatts is bigawatts.
I believe you're probably correct. Of solar and onshore wind projects, as well as 125 megawatts of energy storage. Another RFP, request for proposals, looking for proposals for power purchase agreements will be issued in September.
Well, this is interesting because the company will only consider projects that are 3 megawatts or less. And of course, located in Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. The acquisition of the projects will support the company's projected customer load. So they're looking to supply all of their load.
And do it
Eventually.
with distributed power.
And do it with distributed power, small, less than 3 megawatts.
Yep. Should we go on?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, we're up to Sunday, May 1st. And this is an item from CNN.
An interesting picture there.
We do.
And it is a satellite image of methane, which is coming from, are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Cattle.
This is from cow burps.
Cow burps. That's what they say. Is that a euphemism?
No, it is not. When I was a kid,
I looked into that. It's not.
I lived among cows, and
they burp a lot.
They are unbelievable the way they burp. It's just constant. They're loud. They're resonant, and that's really where their gas comes from.
Well, in this particular case, they have been seen from space.
Yes. So on the left there, you see a grid of farm fields or something. And if you look just to the left and upwards from the very middle on the left, you see this.
Yeah, there's a square in the middle on the left. That's blown up on the right.
And it's blown up on the right, and you can see the yellow and blue. That yellow and blue and so forth, that is the burps, the methane in the burps. And methane emissions from cow burps have been observed from space. The emissions were detected by GHGS-SAT's high-resolution satellites in February, according to the company. In April, GHG-SAT analysis why would they have a name like that? That's such a hard...
Greenhouse gas satellite.
Yeah, I know, but why don't you call yourself Fred? Or, Fred analysis confirmed that emissions came from a cattle feedlot in California.
So they zeroed in on one feedlot.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing.
And they got it.
Well, as cows digest their food, they release methane.
Yes.
Mostly through their gassy burps.
Yes.
Okay.
Almost all.
The methane they burp up is a powerful greenhouse gas.
Yes.
Just like any other gas that traps heat in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So the article says that farm cattle contribute to 10% of greenhouse gas emissions worldwide.
Worldwide. That is significant. Okay. Our next item is from KBC.
And we got a picture there.
We have a picture.
You're ahead of me already.
People in Kenya picking tea leaves. And it's funny because the article is about Kenyan tea, but it didn't have a good photograph. And I went to Wikipedia.
That's a good picture.
And I found this picture at Wikimedia Commons.
Couldn't be better.
I love this picture. I think it's a great picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Climate change storm threatens Kenya's tea production.
Kenya's tea production is, and I was just looking for tea production. When I
found this,
I was thrilled. What a great day that was. Okay, Kenya's tea production is likely to drop significantly within the next decade. That's pretty quick because of climate change.
Yeah, this is serious for Kenya.
This is threatening the country's foreign earnings from the crop. A senior researcher at the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization's Tea Research Institute. Now, I've talked about names that should be reduced to Fred. This is one of them. This senior researcher voiced concerns on the issue.
Well, tea production is affected by increased rain and temperature. Low temperatures have affected the tea production, with frost cutting their yield.
That's crazy.
It is.
Frosts in Kenya.
Frost in Kenya? That's
Well, the thing about global warming is it doesn't cause the whole world to warm up uniformly. It causes the
a little warm up here, a little cool off there.
Yeah, and it causes this whole thing to change in ways that are kind of radical. And this is apparently one of them. So do you have more on that one?
No, we could pretty well cover that. We got an interesting picture coming up of a wave here, which I will try to put up here. Nice wave.
Isn't that a nice wave?
That's a nice wave.
Yep. That wave has a volcanic activity right at the top, which is why it's got that weird cloud.
Oh.
Do you have anything else you'd like me to tell you?
Well, the Tri-Cities, and this is interesting because it's hard to figure out who the Tri-Cities are. They're not Albany, Schenectady, Detroit.
Yeah.
No, the three cities I never heard of.
Yeah.
In that area.
Yes.
Well, anyhow, the Tri-Cities scientists magically mining metals from water. Well, it's not magical at all.
No. Scientists at the DOE's Pacific Northwest National Laboratory are working with industry to test an approach that uses magnetic nanoparticles surrounded by an absorbent shell to capture critical materials such as lithium from various
This is interesting what they're doing. There's a 1-minute video here, by the way. It tells you how they do it.
Possibly from seawater. These nanoparticles were completely unknown 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea, how they appeared, but they've been tracked in various ways, doing various things. And this is one of the this is a new type of particle. And this is a new use for it.
Brand new technology.
It's brand new technology. We have no idea.
Lithium is an essential ingredient in the new batteries.
Yes, right.
Okay. And they're powering everything from cell phones to electric vehicles.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, it's basically the same battery.
Yeah.
It's the battery in the electric vehicles, about 1,000 of this batteries that go into the cell phones.
Yeah.
Very little of this is produced in the United States.
Of the lithium.
Of
Very
the lithium?
little
Oh,
lithium.
yeah. And this technology gives us an opportunity to produce our own lithium.
In almost
and it
unlimited
offers
quantities.
a less expensive way of doing it.
Yes.
So they're ahead of the
That's
curve here.
important.
Oh, yeah.
More expensive, that's easy. Less expensive, that's important. Okay, do you want to go on?
Well, geothermal plants use water to capture the heat deep below the Earth's surface
Right.
and convert it to electricity. So they're using this technology with geothermal plants. So they're increasing the efficiency of the geothermal plants and doing something else as well. So this is a win-win situation.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Okay, our next item is from Power Magazine, and it has
This is an interesting
weird picture. I mean, this is really funny. That picture is a picture of a wind turbine blade that has been cut and then split in half lengthwise.
It's been recycled.
It's been, recycled.
It's a
been
bike
reused.
shelter made from a part of a recycled wind turbine.
And you could do a lot of different kinds of shelters for this. You could make
Absolutely.
bus stations and all kinds of things.
Well, the article says there's value in old power generation components.
Well, who'd
and
have
they go
thunk?
on to elaborate on that.
Yeah, they sure do. The market for recycled power equipment components is getting a boost due to ongoing global supply chain issues, particularly for those in the renewable energy sector. The so-called circular power supply chain provides a solution for companies finding it difficult to source raw materials. So
one of the takeaways is as energy storage becomes more commonplace, recycling of batteries and their materials is inevitable. It's happening already. We've talked about it on the show.
Although I think that recycling the materials that are in flow batteries is going to be really easy.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we should explain.
Okay, well, flow batteries, you have
We talked about them on the
pairs
show.
of tanks, and the material is pumped out of the tanks, and the two materials flow by each other, typically with a membrane in between.
And that's the battery.
That's the battery. And
Because the reservoirs could be anything. They could be a pond.
They could be a pond. They could be an old school bus. You know what? It would have to be lined to hold liquid. But I mean, they can use all kinds of things. They could use old tank trucks, with broken
Whatever
axles.
will hold the fluid.
Anything that will reliably hold the fluid. And recovering that fluid is something that is done every time the battery is charged.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple. Okay, should we go on, Tom?
I think we should. We got another picture coming up.
We have a picture, and this is a picture
Let me get the
of a
picture
solar farm in California. We
How
keep
do you
getting
know it's California?
satellite pictures. Well, it said so at the NASA site.
Well, the article is interesting. It says that California is 100% powered by renewables for the first time.
This is from Yahoo. That doesn't mean that California is permanently 100%.
It only happened a very short period of time, but it happened.
But it happened. Renewables met 100% of California electricity demand for the first time on April 30th. By the way, it's happened for a longer period of time since. Most of it from solar power produced along Interstate 10, an hour east of the Coachella Valley. The milestone lasted almost 15 minutes before edging back down to 97%.
Well, 2/3 of the 18,000 megawatts needed was provided by solar power. The rest came from wind, geothermal, and other renewable sources.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, by the way, I don't know why they included it, but it's interesting. 1 million solar rooftops statewide has already been achieved. This is in California.
Yes.
This is a more environmentally friendly form of solar power than solar farms.
Yes, I think that's true.
It is. I never thought of that.
And one of the things that I should mention about this is if you go to Lazard Associates and you look at the costs of energy there, the levelized cost of energy, you see that solar power from rooftops, whether it's residential or commercial and also community solar, are the most expensive forms of solar, and they can get pretty expensive. But the thing that Lazard doesn't tell you is that these are the cost of generating. And in fact, you shouldn't compare rooftop solar with utility solar, because one of them, the person who owns the rooftop is replacing electricity that
costs more.
Costs with retail costs.
Yeah.
And when it's utility solar, it's coming out of wholesale costs. So
that's significant.
It's worth, it's just worth, if you're going to compare them, to bear that in mind. Okay, more on that?
I think we can go on.
Okay, I like this picture.
Yeah, this is neat.
This looks like it could be just up the river,
It is.
Oh, is it? Okay, this is from Clean Technical.
I'm not sure that it is, but
it looks very much like a place that I wrote about in Green Energy Times a couple of years ago, which happened to be for sale. I know this is not that same place, but
this could be in Vermont.
Oh, it could easily be in Vermont or New Hampshire.
And there's got to be places that look very much like
this. Yes, absolutely.
Well, if you had a fronting on a river, a situation like this where you could make your own power, why not?
You'd need a dam. It's hard to get.
The dam is there.
I know that. It's hard to get permission to build a dam.
Well, I bet you that dam was built a long time ago.
I think they probably built it long enough ago that they didn't even,
I bet
there was no permission.
At one time, there was a mill there.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, river-powered villages.
Yeah.
To hydropower, water power success. That's the World WPTO accomplishments. The World, what is WPTO?
I know.
Water Power Technology Office.
Okay, there you go. This year, several of the National Renewable Energy Laboratory's recent water power successes earned spots on the 2020-2021 Accomplishments Report, which was published by the U.S. Department of Energy's Water Power Technologies Office. You must be psychic, Tom, to have got that.
There's about 15 achievements of this WPTO that I'm not going to bore everybody by listing.
Okay.
But if you go to the site, you'll find it.
Okay. We are up to Tuesday, May 3rd.
All day.
All day. And
we got a picture coming up.
We have a picture coming up of a view from Mount Washington, and the article is from NHPR. I think that means New Hampshire Public Radio.
That's exactly what it means. Well, Mount Washington, climate change is coming for New England's highest peak.
Man, this is distressing. Mount Washington in New Hampshire is famous for some of the world's worst weather. That's one of the most attractive things about it,
Yeah.
You go up there, and I have really wished a bunch of times that I could go to the top of Mount Washington and spend the night there during the winter.
It's very difficult to do.
No, you can actually rent a place up there. Yeah. You can do it. You need to be a little prepared, though. Mount Washington in New Hampshire is famous for some of the world's worst weather, but Mount Washington's weather is starting to shift significantly because of climate change. A study from the Appalachian Mountain Club found areas on and near Mount Washington are warming measurably.
Well, it says that they're doing weather observations at the Mount Washington Observatory.
Yes, which is right at the top.
Right there. And Pinkham Notch, which is right next door.
Yes.
And they're finding out annual average temperatures have gone up 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit over the whole period of study, which is 84 years, and 2.1 degrees at Pinkham Notch.
Wow.
So that they're definitely getting warmer.
Yes. Mount Washington, by the way, have you been up there?
Oh, yeah, I skied Mount Washington.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you have to walk up.
There's a building up there that has huge chains running across the roof, and they're anchored. And
to hold the building from getting blown away.
Yes, that's right, to keep the building from blowing away.
Well, I think it's got the world's highest wind ever recorded.
It has ever recorded by a regular
Yeah.
Ground station. You can get higher winds than Doppler radar and stuff like that. But that, yes, I think you're right.
Well, the Mount Washington has held the record for the highest wind gust. 231 miles per hour.
I think that would blow me away. I think that would
Blow anybody away.
pick me up and carry me off. Carry me back to old Virginia.
At 6,288 feet, the weather is often freezing, even in the spring.
Even in the summer.
And the weather can change suddenly.
Yes.
And it does.
And it does. I went up there with my son. It was the first time I'd gone up. And
I mean, it's a nice mountain.
The temperature at the top of the mountain was something like 74 degrees. It was the record.
Was it really? Wow.
It was absolutely the record.
Usually the other way around.
Yeah. But it was, and it's one of the things that's interesting about Mount Washington is it going up, and I've done it on the road, and I've also done it on their little train.
Yeah, they got a little choo-choo take you to the top.
They do.
Yep.
The going up on the road I found more interesting, really, from the point of view of what was around me. And you could drive up that road, which was pretty steep, and come to a hairpin turn and go around that turn and discover that you're in an entirely different ecosystem. It's like
interesting on the same mountain.
Yeah, well, and this happens more than once. You're driving from forest, you go around a corner and you're in scrub. And then you drive a certain ways, and you go around a corner again, and all of a sudden,
world, huh?
Yeah, it's like you look like feel like you're in some place that belongs in Iceland or something.
Well, that railway that they talk about is a cog railway.
That's right.
It goes up on.
It's a cogwheel.
The mountain's too steep for the railroad to go up. But it's got these cogs that it rides up on. It's very interesting.
It is.
And it's been there a long time.
My
it's
niece,
an old,
yeah.
The old railroad. That I think it's steam. I think it's still run by steam.
And it takes them like a ton and a half of coal or something like that to go up that mountain with one load. And the guy who is shoveling the coal shovels the whole time up.
He does.
Yes, he does. And my niece, who has hiked up there, told me that area under that cog railroad, because it's off the ground in a lot of places, it's going on bridges. She said it's just gross. It's so bad underneath there because it's had for years and years and years. It's
a long time.
Lubricating oil
100 years
spilling on the ground.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Okay.
We got a picture here coming up of. Are we ready?
Yeah, I think so.
What do they call that?
They call it a laughing donkey. It's a nodding donkey, also called a pump donkey.
Nodding donkey.
This is from CNN.
Well, it's an interesting article. Yeah. Germany will support an EU oil embargo on Russia.
There you go. Germany is ready to support.
We talked about that.
We did. Ready to support a European ban on imports of Russian oil and won't be blackmailed by Moscow into paying for natural gas in rubles. Finance Minister Christian Lindner said Germany would agree any new sanctions on Russia with its partners in the EU, and they have published a thing saying that basically they're going to cut all oil imports except to Hungary and I think Serbia, and they have to be done with them by 2023. But everybody else is going to be done with them by 2022. Cut off. Yeah.
Now this is basically where Russia gets its income.
That's right.
What are they going to do?
Well, they're going to.
Can you say cut off your nose to spite your face?
Well, that's what they've done, and as I said many times, I think Vladimir Putin decided to make things as chaotic as possible because he was hoping that he could pull something out. He didn't realize that people were going to be violently opposed to the idea of just killing civilians willy-nilly. And now what he's doing, apparently, is to try to destroy all of Ukraine's ability to grow food.
That seems to be his... They got to do something about that guy.
Yeah, I think they do. Okay.
Well, I got a couple of quick takeaways here.
Okay.
The European Union has already agreed to phase out Russian coal imports as part of a fifth wave of sanctions imposed on Russia. Okay, so they're going right down. Coal imports is the last thing. But the bloc has found it much harder to reach consensus on joining the U.S.-led embargo on Russian oil, despite weeks of talks. Yeah, well, so the European Union is playing games.
Well, they're making progress now, which is why this thing from Germany came out.
Well, Russia presently accounts for about 27% of EU oil imports and about 40% of Europe's natural gas.
Yep.
So this is significant.
It is indeed. Okay, we've got an item from CNN and a picture of a Tesla.
Is that a Tesla? Is
It
that
looks
what
like
that
a
is?
Tesla.
Looks like a Tesla to me.
Yeah,
How can you tell it's an electric car?
it's a Tesla.
No grill.
Yeah, no grill. I knew you were going to say that.
That is a Tesla, according to this, and the
Yes.
Biden administration is making a $3 billion investment in lithium-ion battery production,
Right.
which is good because we have practically no production of that.
Yes. President Joe Biden is building on his EV goal with a $3 billion investment aimed at boosting the U.S. supply of lithium-ion batteries. The move is aimed at fighting climate change, but also in response to Russia's invasion of the Ukraine.
Well, electric vehicles need lithium batteries.
Yeah.
We need a responsible and sustainable domestic source of
Yes.
those batteries.
Yes.
Okay.
Beyond Tesla.
Yeah. Well, besides lithium, they use cobalt, nickel, and graphite.
Well, there's different kinds of lithium batteries. There's also lithium.
But these are all
Iron
elements
phosphate.
that they're looking for.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, we're up to Wednesday, the 4th of May, and we have a picture of this is a battery
That's a battery.
that is in camo gear.
Yes. That is a stationary battery. Well, I don't see any wheels on it, so I'll have to agree.
Yeah, but it looks like it was brought in and dropped there, doesn't it?
It was. You can see where a giant forklift can pick it up. That's
Yes.
what those holes are there.
Yes, I
for.
believe you're right.
Well, this is the kind of container that you see on container ships.
Yes,
And they just put the batteries in them.
that's right.
Biden administration, $3.16 billion from bipartisan infrastructure law to boost domestic and battery manufacturing.
Okay, this is more of the Biden administration battery stuff.
Yeah, he's doing some good things.
Yes. U.S. DOE said that $3.1 billion from the bipartisan infrastructure law will fund more batteries and components in America, bolster domestic supply chains, create good paying jobs, and help lower costs for families in general.
Well, battery costs have fallen more than 90% since 2008.
That's amazing.
And
Isn't it?
there's more to go.
Yeah, there's more to
And
go.
energy density and performance have increased. So
Yep.
they're making better batteries cheaper.
Yes.
Okay? Responsible, this is important, and sustainable domestic sourcing of critical materials used to make lithium-ion batteries is the future of electricity.
Right. Okay, we have another item from CNN.
Another nice picture here.
That is a picture of Lake Powell. I'm sorry, it's Lake Powell.
Lake Powell. Yeah, Powell. I didn't catch that.
Well, I wasn't typing very well.
I think I've been there.
Have you?
I've been to one of those
One of those
two big dams
Yeah.
down there. Well, Lake Powell officials take unprecedented emergency steps to delay water releases as the level plummets.
All right, this is a different story than the story that we said earlier in the
Yes.
show, but it's
Very much the same.
much the
Different
same.
story, but it tells a lot of the same
Yeah,
things.
this is from CNN.
And you can see,
The washtub ring, the bathtub ring.
and it's much worse than that now.
Oh yeah, this
Picture
this
is
picture
an
is a year
picture.
old. This is from CNN. The federal government announced unprecedented steps to help boost power levels at Lake Powell. The measures are intended to buy surrounding communities more time to plan what happens if the reservoir runs out of water. Now, running out of water is not the same as running dry. It just means that the
They don't have enough water to run the hydro.
turbines, they don't have enough water to run the turbines, and they don't have enough water to put it down river. And one of these articles that it showed up recently, they actually had a picture of an exposed intake valve. So the valve was above the water level.
Yes, there's a picture of that.
And
And it can't take any
can't
water
take
in
water.
because it's over
Well,
the top.
there are obviously other intakes, but those are going to be exposed too. And once that happens, there is nothing you can do.
Well, there's a video in this link here.
Yeah.
Say boo.
Boo.
because the video is scary.
Oh, yeah.
The country's second largest reservoir is drying up. It's 2.5 minutes. It's worth looking at.
This is climate change doing this.
Absolutely.
And people who say that, there are people who say climate change isn't happening.
It's a hoax.
You know, there was an organization that
They
went
spent
out
a lot of money trying to say it's a hoax.
Yeah, 2019, they went out looking at peer-reviewed article papers that were published on climate change to see how many said it was happening and how many said it was not. And of the ones that they found that said something about it, 100% said it was happening as a result of human activity.
100%.
100%.
Not 99.7.
No, not 97%, which is, you know, what we've been
You
hearing.
got to look at the picture again because it says the Glen Canyon Dam that
Yes.
we're looking at
Yeah.
generates power for as many as 5.8 million homes and businesses in 7 states.
Yeah, well,
This is
not a joke. And what they're talking about is stopping, allowing the water in that dam to go downriver.
To make energy.
And allowing dams upstream that aren't putting water downstream to add to this reservoir's water. They've got a problem here, and they're addressing it by a balancing game, and it's a game.
It's a game. That's just.
Yeah.
I was going to say they're playing games, and yeah.
And they're just hoping that they can keep playing games long enough
until this is over.
That it's going to be over.
Nobody knows how long it's going to be.
There's no sign it's going to be over.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, Lake Powell has dropped around 100 feet in the last 3 years.
Yeah, and it's dropping at a rate. And if they said that if it drops 32 feet, they're done.
They can't generate power anymore.
That's what it drops in 1 year, in the last 3 years. Okay, our last item.
An interesting picture here.
I love this picture, and actually I kind of like the story, but I just think that is...
Well, that is a boatload of hydrogen.
Yeah. And those balls on that ship are big. They're probably 10 or 12 stories tall.
They're very large, and they're all full of hydrogen.
Which is very light.
Well, that is a hydrogen ship. And it says a new class of hydrogen ship design from CJOB, which is the naval architect that designed it.
CJOB Naval Architects designed a new class of liquid hydrogen tanker. So those tanks are supposed to be full of liquid hydrogen.
Yes.
Which is still, even compared to liquefied natural gas, it's going to be very, very light.
Yes, it is.
And compared to gasoline, it's going to be exquisitely light.
Well, this is an important sentence I'm about to utter.
Well, let me finish on that. A new class of liquid hydrogen tanker that may revolutionize the renewable energy market. The tanker concept developed in partnership with LH2 Europe is a critical element in realizing a green end-to-end liquid hydrogen supply chain. Go ahead,
I'm
Tom.
going to push it back up so we can look at it. Well, hydrogen will be essential to the future of energy.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, it's happening.
Well, you can use it for so many different things.
Well, current vessels are not able to deliver enough hydrogen.
Right.
Hence this thing.
Yes.
Okay. The abundant amounts of renewable energy in Scotland will produce enough green hydrogen and market it at competitive price with diesel to fill this tanker.
Yes.
So that's their plans.
Yes.
Okay. The tanker will transport the liquid hydrogen from Scotland to Germany.
Now, one of the things that's
They got it all figured out.
Yeah. One of the things that's important here is that the grid has to be balanced all the time.
All the time.
The amount of electricity that's available has to equal the amount of electricity that is
almost
needed.
to the second.
Yeah, very close. Now, in the old days, they would bring fast new generators on that would come up in 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. Now they've got these batteries. They can do it instantly. But the deal is, if you've got too much electricity coming from the wind farm, you have to shut the wind farm down. And that's easily done.
They don't like to do that.
Huh?
They don't like to do that.
No, they don't like doing that. The people who own the wind farms don't like it. An alternative is to create a demand that wasn't there 5 minutes ago, which you can do by saying, oh, let's make hydrogen.
Store it. Well,
Let's make
hydrogen is one way to store it.
Yeah, and so we'll make a bunch of hydrogen, and when we've got enough to fill that ship, we'll send it to Germany because they would buy it.
Well, by the way, only a few years ago, it was almost impossible to store hydrogen.
Yeah.
They've made technological improvements now, and they're storing some of it underground.
Yes, I remember when I was in high school, I had a teacher.
I can't remember that far.
I had a teacher who loved, playing games, and he would talk about white phosphorus, and he'd say, well, this white phosphorus is in alcohol, so it won't catch fire. And then he'd say, I want to put this somewhere where you can see it. And he put it on a piece of paper, which was filter paper. So of course the alcohol just got wicked away. And he put that on top of a tall graduate, which was about that big in diameter. This was big. It was probably a liter graduate, maybe bigger. And of course it just started to smoke after a minute, and then all of a sudden went poof, because the alcohol that had evaporated down into this thing was, well, one of the things
I think all high school chemistry teachers think they're magicians.
I think they might. Yeah. And he said, I want to show you about hydrogen. I've got a bottle of it here. And then he opened up the bottle and nothing happened. It was like one of those steel bottles that you store gas in. Not big. It was about that big around, about that long. And then he said, you know what? I got this last year. It's probably empty because the hydrogen will go right through the steel. And I mentioned that.
Well, they have solved that problem.
Yeah, I mentioned that to another student at lunch. He said, he showed us the same thing last year. I think he's probably had that container empty for the last 10 or 15 years. Okay, we are at the end of the show.
This is the end of the show. Yeah.
There it is. We want everybody to have a particularly enjoyable week.
Adios. Y'all come back and see us.
You got to have both of us up there, Tom. You just got me.
Oh, I got to. Yeah.
There you go.
They were in the wrong place.
See you next week, or at least we hope
Y'all
you
come back and see us.
That's right.